So today we're gonna take a look at some of our old mail order catalogs. We no longer do the mail order catalogs, but we have a bunch of them, and they're really interesting to look at because they're full of all kinds of really fun art, and also just um, they're a wonderful time capsule of what we used to do. Here's Bob back in the day. They're kind of in order. I'm not sure which edition this is, but we do have the 10th, 11th, and 12th editions. So I think we will just take a look starting with the 10th. Everybody loves Waxman candles. This was our first one after we moved to our location at 609 Mass. So it has a lot of stuff about that in it. Also, just to give you an idea of what we've got going on. These copies are ours, and so we would have used them for doing things like changing prices or discussing things. So they do have a lot of little handwritten notes, helping us to remember things like you have to buy a dozen of something, or that sort of thing. They do include some photographs, but it's mostly a lot of these wonderful hand-drawn illustrations of the candles, which are really cool. Some information about our silhouettes and how they are constructed, and then also how to use them again over time, and then some more great drawings and pictures of our silhouette candles, some of which we still do. The farm scene is, of course, now our Kansas candle. This sunflower looks very familiar to me. Of course, the moon and stars and these moonlight coyotes. We actually recently started redoing these after we had someone bring in a coyote scene from some time ago and ask if we could do some more, and we did. So yeah, got funky stuff. Of course, lots of our designs. This one is really interesting, the Bitchin' Bone. This bone-shaped candle is a new, although admittedly unasked for, addition to our funky line. It is wildly colored and decorated with lots of vivid flowers and shapes. I have never seen one of these. I would love to see a modern rendition of the Bitchin' Bone, so let us know if you are interested in seeing that as well. More of this wonderful sort of collage style art. Tie-dyes. And I think like there are some pictures, but photography just wasn't quite able to show a lot of what we were doing, and so the hand-drawn illustrations really come in handy. Some skulls, some information about our drippies. They're like totally beatnik. And of course, our courteous telephone attendants who are anticipating your call with our old phone number. I love her. She shows up a few times throughout the catalogs. Information on our votives. Super duper wowie kazowie scented votives. And then this awesome little list of the 46 cents we had at the time. Our columns, and of course our telephone girl again. Some explanations of the layers, the way that we used to name them: English garden, Renaissance, French country, um, Rasta. We used to also do the layers in a lot more sizes and shapes. We used to have a pyramid and these like extra wick candles. And then some of our holders from that era. And these hand blown oil lamps, these seem really interesting. I would love to know some more about those. Some information on our tapers. I think that in general, something I notice about the catalogs is that we just used to do a lot more variety of colors. I think over time we've just really like zeroed in on what colors people are interested in and what kind of stuff we're looking for. Um, but I would love to see a hot pink revival of the taper colors. I think that could be really cool. And then we also have some of our unusual size gothics that we still do. Um, Weird sizes and just sort of like custom stuff is really our bread and butter. Some information on our beeswax and some decorated tapers. Floating candles and these interesting outdoor candles that come on a stick. So I guess you could stick them in your yard and light them. Very fire safe, I'm sure. Foliators also used to come in a lot more colors. Now we just do them in the white. Although you could order a foliator in any color still. Some wonderful seasonal stuff. With the Halloween especially, I'm amazed at how much this is still what we do. We still do the jack-o'-lanterns. These look incredibly familiar if you've ever seen our Halloween stuff. These wonderful spooky moonlights. The Easter stuff is really different actually from what we do now for the most part. We do have wildflower eggs, of course, but I'm really delighted and fascinated by this swirl egg. I would love to know, to see like a modern example of how we would have done that. Valentine's Day and holidays. Great stuff. Our Hershey's Kiss, that's so cute. And of course the tiny hearts that we still do to this day. And then this was the year that we added the iconic extra large penguin to our line. This is a great drawing of the penguin. And then these icebergs are really fun. More holiday, which makes sense. We've always been very holiday oriented. I love also these Mr. and Mrs. Claus drawings here. Very precious. More holiday. And then this would have been before we started doing the decorated Christmas trees. We just had one pine tree, it looks like, and this was when we used to do scented shapes before we realized that that has a lot of problems with it. But it would have been a little pine tree that smelled like pine. The other thing about this is the prices are, of course, prices from the 90s. It'd be wonderful if we could still charge like this, but times change. These wonderful drawings of the holiday lanterns. And then more layers. Holiday tapers. And then this was the ordering page. And so I've had it explained to me that we would basically have people write down what they wanted, and then they would add up their own shipping and handling. So they might even send us an envelope with cash with $10 for their candles and $4 for the shipping and handling, which is just such a wild concept to me now, but I think it's so cool that we still have examples of our previous ordering. But yeah. And of course we've moved since this was right after we moved to our new space. So yeah, let us know if you'd like us to look through some more of our catalogs and see some of the cool art and old prices